Namaskar. Welcome to episode 9 of Sanmitram series. This episode is very special because we are going to have two very young, extremely talented, charming newlyweds from Bangalore, India, speak to India Foundation about their perspectives of their respective artistic journeys, their independent career, and inspiring partnership.
Namaste, Pavithra. Thank you so much for having us today here.
It's a great pleasure to be here for India Foundation's great initiative.
Thank you. Vishnu, your parents are eminent artists themselves. Your mother, Srimati Indra Kadambi, a very renowned Bharatanatyam dancer, choreographer, teacher, and your respected father, Sri Ram Prasad, who is a great Carnatic musician, performer, and teacher. How has this privileged lineage helped shape up your career?
It's truly been a blessing, nothing short of a blessing, to grow up in a house of art. I would say my journey with art has even preceded the time that I physically came into the world. As a child in my mother's womb, I was still exposed to my father's singing. My mother was still dancing then. And I think that already sowed the seeds to the musical and artistic foundation that followed in the later years. As I grew up in this family, every day was unique and special. Filled with such fun moments, full of learning, full of unique artistic expression and perspective. There would be classes happening in one room. There would be a music practice happening in another room. Have such eminent artists visit our home. As a young child, I would take that for granted. I would not realize the value of what was happening, the amazing personalities and the art that followed in our house. But I think it served as a very important incubation, artistic incubation as a child. And it kind of reinforced the fact that, you learn art as a language, as you would with any language. And just by KV Jnanam, that it really kind of cultivated seeds of art. I began lessons with my father very early. I had the blessing of learning from my own father, not only imbibe their art and music, but also the way they interacted with the world. I'm proud to say that my parents, who are also my gurus, have had a very honest and heartfelt, deep contribution to the field of arts, very original. And I think the greatest learning that they have given me is independence and making my own decisions. And that freedom gave me the avenues to explore so many of my interests.
You're a gifted child, Vishnu, and it's really kind of you to accept that blessing.
Thank you.
Invention itself is an extraordinary feat. What inspired you to invent this instrument called Navtar?
I think the Navtar, it was a product of my environment. Actually, my musical journey was with Western music. I was fascinated by the guitar as an instrument. I had some wonderful teachers, Sri Neil Mukherjee, John Anthony. Later, I studied, had my advanced Western classical and jazz training from Dennis Stern from Italy. So all of these influences really shaped and nurtured my interest, and just to pursue the guitar freely with passion, with that fire, so to speak. And as I played Western music more and more, my taste also towards Indian music started developing. After listening to recordings of the legendary Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasya, later the wonderful bands, collaborative fusion bands, Shakti, my interest in Indian classical arts, all of them, Hindustani, Carnatic, started surfacing. And I started taking them very seriously then. So I started my training, vocal training with my father. And I started teaching myself how to play vocal style, true Gayaki style Carnatic music on the guitar. I learned and I started performing on the guitar as well. And as I went on, as I proceeded, I learned that the guitar has inherent limitations as to bringing out the finest nuances of our Carnatic music. In the sense that because of the presence of the metal bars that we call frets, it splits the notes equally into 12 notes, whereas our Indian music generally requires an uninterrupted access of 22 shrutis. For that, I first experimented with removing the frets on the guitar, and that gives such a beautiful singing, that uninterrupted continuous pitch jaru, which is very voice-like. And I realized then that this fretless element is the way to go to perform Carnatic music to the truest in the guitar. But then arose the question, how do I play both of these forms of music that I love so much? I love Western music, I love Carnatic music. I don't want to compromise on and choose between both, my love for both of them. I couldn't play two, three instruments in a concert. I couldn't carry multiple instruments. It became a cumbersome process. I was thinking, how do I string that and create one instrument that can offer me the best of both the worlds, and one that I can perform both music with equal ease? After months, maybe a year of deliberation, research, finally decided to create the Navtar, which is a 9-string instrument for which I received a patent in 2020, that incorporates both a fretless section, a fretted section, as well as a harp, or to explain it like a santur section, into a single neck and body. And what this does is that it presents one instrument, almost like a multi-instrument, that enables the performance of all of these styles with equal ease and precision. So this is how the Navtar came into existence, and I have nothing but my influences to thank for that.
Amazing how much of thought, imagination, and experiments have gone into this invention, and heartiest congratulations for the same. Your special talents have given you opportunities to collaborate with international musicians as well. Whom have you collaborated with, and how has your experiences been?
I think each collaboration has been special. One of the special collaborations that come to mind off the top of my head is with Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Umayatpuram Shivaraman sir. And it was an amazing concert, and the rehearsals were quite revelatory in how to work as a musician together. The other one is Project Leap, which was an education as well as a performance based program, school-based program, mentored by A.R. Rahman sir. And this basically got together school kids of Chennai, and then we had them collaborate with leading artists all over the world, from Brazil, from Africa, from US, and then got them to we have put up performances together. This was heralded by Mr. Srinivasan, who's a very, very dynamic musical entrepreneur, I should say. Next was a special collaboration for A.R. Rahman's 25th year in the industry. A performance with singers Srinivas, Sujata Mohan, Karthik, Vijay Prakash. That was a memorable concert. That have stood out for me has been, I was recently declared a winner of an international project titled Beyond Music, which is a Swiss-based organization, but it invites composers from all over the world to produce or present theme-based work, of which 16 entries are selected as the winners and presented in a Grammy award-winning producer produced album. So through that, I've had an honor to collaborate with my friends Varijashri from Bangalore, my friends Lucas Gatzer from Switzerland, and now four-time Grammy-winning producers Michael League and Bill Lawrence of Snarky Puppy. Also, this year has been a great learning experience as I have been announced as a fellow of the US government, Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs. They have a program called One Beat, which handpicks musicians from across the world to come together to create music, do workshops, engage in fruitful sharing. So that One Beat fellowship was quite revelatory. And currently I'm working as a full-time composer and a music director for a Canadian-based residency, for which the details will be announced soon. So these are some of the exciting projects that are going on, and I'm very, very happy to be engaging in music.
Ramya, coming to you, you're such a charming, young, dynamic Bharatanatyam dancer, as well as a medical doctor alongside. How do these two professions blend? How do they complement each other according to you?
I must say, whatever I'm saying, it is out of my own personal experience being in both the fields or trying to pursue both the fields. First, I must say, when it comes to work ethic, the precision, the timing, that is something that I picked up from the medical field. So whether it was going to work at 9 a.m. or being there for a stipulated time, full focus throughout the duration and precise and being thorough with your theory knowledge, and at the same time transcending it into the practical or the practice of medicine, because at the end of the day, whatever may be your theoretical knowledge, the practice of what you do is what stands out, is what is seen. And that's the same thing if you look at it, is what is in dance. We may not be time bound by a higher organization or authority saying 9 to 4 varnam irukkanam, attendance irukum and the madri, but it is something we develop ourselves. It is an innate quality that we need to develop, and so trying to devote that specific amount of time, or if not the whole day, for dance, being thoroughly focused, precise. And here again, I find that we should have a thorough knowledge of our theory or our literature, whether it is, the scriptures, whether it's the raga, whether it's the composition, what goes behind choreography, all the back homework that we have to do, that becomes a theory, and how we can convert that into our practical or our dance, which comes onto stage, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Di mi ta ha ta jam ta ri ta ri ta ha dha na ta ha ja nu ta ha di mi ta kun da di ki ta ta ka da ka di nu ta di mi ta ha ta jam ta ri ta ha da na ta ha ja nu ta ha di mi ta kun da ri ki ta ta.
This being aside, there is another thing the other way around, where dance has complemented my medicine, whether in terms of creativity, spontaneity. As an artist, we are pushed, we are challenged at every moment on stage or during choreography to push ourselves and bring up something new on the spot, be spontaneous, innovative. And against, I mean, what normal people would think is medicine is by the book. You know, you read, you have a protocol to follow, and that's what you do. But on the contrary, that's not how it is when you do it on a day-to-day basis. We are put in situations where you don't have time to think or go through the protocol. You have limited resources, and you have to come up with a solution then and there, which is new, so that you can stand out, you can grow in your field, and at the same time, ultimately, it's healthcare, benefits the patient without, causing much harm. And being a doctor, for me, I think this is my own personal experience. I've been put through so many instances or circumstances where you see a range of emotions over a course of 24 hours. Just a particular day, you come across anger, frustration, sorrow, helplessness. And at the same time, there's joy, there's love, affection, there's respect, gratitude, or, just the self of relief that the patient is back, their father, their son, their mother is back. And as a doctor, the common notion is we are numb to all of these, but on the contrary, we are actually incredibly sensitive to all of this. We see it on an everyday and on a very close level, because we're closely associated not only to the patient themselves, but also to the family. We are like an extension to them. So we are incredibly sensitive. We are aware of the situation, how to deal with it, what's happening, what is running through their minds, how they must feel, how stressful it is for us also, because it's a delicate line that we are treading upon there. And just going through that or experiencing all of those emotions and feelings definitely has, made me, what do I say? It has come to my dance also, whether it's the social circle or expressing, just being to involve, trying to understand, be in that moment and bring out that underlying meaning, emotion. That has something that the emotion that has really worked around its way to dance also.
Mandayana movi pinduladina na vandamudidina kandamalina chetamutta dura. Mandayana movi pinduladina na vandamudidina kandamalina chetamutta. Mandayana movi pinduladina bandamudidina gandamalina chetamutta vadura moganaga nanni budumutta vadura.
Meaning in that statement, right? That a doctor cures the ailments of the body and the artist elevates the soul, and both are important.
Yes, definitely, Akai. That is also something I wanted to say, that being a doctor, I'm able to reach the life, the health, but being a dancer, I'm trying to reach the soul of the person.
How beautiful is that? What brought you both together in this beautiful institution of marriage and having independent careers? How do you build your partnership?
I think first and foremost, something that I think we really gelled upon or we saw in each other, the first was just the frank genuineness humble, and we were both, I think, pretty grounded when it comes to, life or our thoughts per se. It was also like the person that I could completely be myself, open up, and that understanding was there. Didn't have to worry about being judged. How do we manage our schedules? It is, yes, tough because we're both leading independent careers. But for me, being an artist, I know how important it is for him to do what he does, whether it is his classes, whether it is his touring, recording. And I think it's the same with him. He's been around people who are working, having fixed jobs and working, and he understands how important is what I do is also. And that understanding and accommodation is there. So it's keeping us going.
So yeah, I agree completely with Ramya. Our progression of friends to best friends and ultimately partners in life, partners in crime. So
have you done any projects lately together, or you have any plans to do it in future?
So recently, for the Navratri last year, we picked up the shlokas or the mantras of each Devi for each day of the Navratri, and we had put choreographed and he had set the music, and I had done the choreography, and every day it would be a new scout for location or a new composition, new choreography, something different for those 9 days. That was something that we did recently, the Navratri series.
Om Devi Kalaratriyai Namaha. Ekaveni Japa Karnapura Nagnakarastita.
I worship she who has a single braid of hair, who wears hibiscus flowers as ornaments around her ears, she who is naked and who is abiding on a donkey.
Lamboshti karnika karni tailabhyakta sharini.
She whose lips are large and hanging forward, she who is adorned with beautiful earrings and whose body is smeared with oil.
Vamapadola solohalata kantakaya bhushana.
She whose left foot is embraced by thorny metal creepers.
Vardhana murdvaja Krishna Kalaratri Bhayankari.
She who increases the prosperity of her devotees, she who is dark blue in color. I worship that Devi Kalaratri.
Ramya,
I did my solo production on Attigiri Varadar Mahatmyam in Sri Rangam. So for that is also another production that we worked on. That was my solo production, but he was into the music for that.
Yes, and I think we definitely have a lot more collaboration in store, from what the time that we are spending with each other, whether it is for, some contemporary themes of setting my music, some composed music to dance, or whether it is even taking her margam or her traditional dance performance and me being a part of it. I think definitely we have a lot more collaborations. This is only the beginning.
As youngsters, what ideas or suggestions would you have to involve more of the future generation into learning arts and understanding our rich heritage?
We need to make our culture, our heritage, a close part of the younger generation. How can we make it more accessible while keeping the traditional core values intact? How can we work around it in the presentation of it? How can we include various other influences and styles that can give it a little bit of a unique ring, a voice of its own, so that it can speak to the next generation, current generation? I think it's important to understand that the traditional culture is always a flux, right? While we are sticking to the values and teachings of many centuries, we need to understand that our responsibility as artists today is our original contribution to art currently, as we see it. It's very important for us to be honest to ourselves and art, to be accepting of oneself. I always think that just as no two people are the same, neither should their art be. Just mere imitation and reproduction, I would say, needs to cultivate and move ahead to originality and personal interpretation and creative output is what will stand the test of time and will also help us be remembered for our contribution.
Vishnu and Ramya, it was a pleasure to listen to you. On behalf of India Foundation, I sincerely thank you for participating in this series. And I wish very much that your marriage blossoms. You have an inspiring partnership and success in all your ambitions.
Thank you. I would like to thank India Foundation for having us and creating this wonderful Sanmitram series.